You know that moment when someone tosses you their car keys like you're the help? Yeah, that happened to me last Tuesday morning at 6:45 a.m. The name's Brian Matthews, I'm 48, and I own Matthews Technology Park here in Austin. Been building this place from scratch since 2001, back when this part of town was nothing but scrubland and big dreams. But let me back up a minute. The morning fog in Austin doesn't roll in like some movie scene. It just sits there, heavy and damp, smelling of cedar and burnt coffee from the food trucks that haven't shown up yet. I was doing my usual walk around the property, checking the landscaping. My late wife Susan used to say you could judge a man's business by how he keeps his grounds. If the sprinklers are broken, the cash flow's probably next. I was standing by the main entrance when I saw it. A white pearl Bentley Continental GT, custom rims that probably cost more than most people's cars. It was parked diagonally across two spaces, not just any spaces, but the loading zone and my personal spot, the one with the faded stencil that reads Reserved, B. Matthews. I stood there sipping black coffee from my old thermos, just staring at the nerve of it. The engine was still ticking as it cooled down. Then the glass doors swung open and out walked this woman who looked like she'd been designed by committee to represent everything wrong with corporate America today. This was Ashley Brooks, 26 years old, VP of Operations for Next Gen Digital. I'd seen her LinkedIn profile when they signed the lease, always posting about disrupting paradigms and authentic leadership. She was wearing designer athleisure that cost more than my work boots, holding two phones and what looked like a ring light. She didn't look at my face. People like Ashley never look at the face of a man over 45 unless he's signing their paychecks. She looked at my work clothes, my steel-toe boots, the ring of keys on my belt. "Hey you," she called out, not breaking stride. "Facilities guy, right? Or maintenance, whatever." I turned slowly. "Excuse me? I'm late for content creation. Park this somewhere safe and don't scratch the rims, or I'll literally sue." She tossed the keys in an underhand arc, lazy and dismissive. "There's a Starbucks card in the console if you do a good job." Time seemed to slow down. In that second, I had a choice. I could catch those keys, explain who I was, tell her I own the asphalt she's standing on, the building behind her, and technically the air she's polluting with her expensive perfume. I didn't move. I just watched that heavy key fob hit the pavement with a satisfying crack. It skittered across the concrete and landed in a puddle near the landscaping. Ashley stopped scrolling on her phone. She looked at the keys, then at me, her face twisting into pure shock. It was the expression of someone who'd never been told no in her entire privileged life. "Are you kidding me right now?" she screamed. "Pick them up. That's a $265,000 machine." I took a slow sip of my coffee. "It's parked in a tow-away zone," I said, keeping my voice calm. "And you dropped your keys. I tossed them to you. You're literally the help." She stepped closer, invading my space. She smelled like energy drinks and entitlement. "Do you know who I am? I'm the VP here. I could buy and sell you before my morning smoothie." I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "I suggest you move the car, Ashley. The tow trucks in Austin are aggressive. They don't care about your job title." "Whatever, boomer." She bent down, grabbed her keys from the puddle, and wiped them on her $200 leggings. "I'm leaving it right here. Touch it, and I sue. I'm calling the property management company and having you fired by lunch." "What's your name?" "Brian?" I said softly. "Well, Brian, start updating that resume. You're done." She stormed back into the building, leaving the Bentley straddling the lines like a monument to her ego. I stood there for a moment, listening to the automatic doors slide shut. My heart wasn't racing, my hands weren't shaking. A cold, crystalline clarity had settled over me. She thought I was the help. She thought I was invisible in the machine of her success. I pulled out my phone and opened the Notes app, started a new file titled Project Bentley. Then I walked to the service entrance, swiped my master key card, the one that opens every door in the complex, and headed to my office on the 4th floor. From my window, I could see the Bentley down below. It was an insult to my property, but it was also a gift. Ashley had just handed me exactly what I needed to clean house. A reason. I sat down and pulled up the lease agreement for Next Gen Digital. It was a thick document I'd negotiated personally 10 months ago with their former CFO, a decent guy named Gary who understood that contracts aren't suggestions. I scanned through until I found what I was looking for. Section 14, parking easements, and conduct violations. To understand why that Bentley was about to become Ashley's downfall, you need to understand the bigger picture. Next Gen moved in last fall when they were different. They were run by actual engineers who respected the building and followed the rules. But 5 months ago, they got a massive Series C funding round, $75 million. With that money came the bloat. The original team was transitioned out, and in walked the growth hackers, the influencers, the disruptors. Ashley's father owned the parent company, so naturally she got promoted to VP despite having zero real-world experience. Her main qualification seemed to be 85,000 Instagram followers. The building's atmosphere shifted overnight. My lobby, which I designed with clean lines and professional quiet, was suddenly cluttered with neon signs saying things like, "Hustle harder," and "Content is king." They broke the espresso machine. They scuffed my limestone floors with those electric scooters they insisted on riding indoors. Around 10 a.m., I went down to the cafe I maintain for tenants. Ashley was at the front of the line, and I could hear her from 20 feet away. "What do you mean you're out of oat milk?" Her voice wasn't just loud, it was performative. She wanted everyone to know she was inconvenienced. "I literally cannot function without oat milk. This is going on my story." The barista, a sweet woman named Carol who's working her way through nursing school, looked terrified. "I'm sorry, we have almond, soy, and regular." "Ew, no. Almond is basically poison and soy is for losers." Ashley leaned over the counter, tapping her black Amex on the marble. "I pay premium rent for this space. Premium rent includes premium milk alternatives. It's literally in the contract." It definitely wasn't in any contract. I wrote the service agreements myself. "Let me check the back again," Carol stammered. "Don't check. Fix it. Send someone to Whole Foods." "I don't care. Just make it happen, or I'm posting a review about how this place has gone downhill." I stepped forward, adjusting my jacket. "Ma'am," I said, keeping my voice respectful, "the grocery store is just 2 blocks away if it's urgent." Ashley spun around. She didn't recognize me from the parking lot incident. I apparently didn't register as memorable. "Oh great, maintenance guy again. Did you park my car properly?" "Your car is exactly where you left it," I said. She laughed, a sharp sound. "Useless. Everyone in this building who isn't creating content is literally useless." She turned back to Carol. "Cancel the order. I'm getting TikTok footage about terrible customer service instead." After she stormed out, a junior employee lingered at the counter. She dropped a $5 tip in Carol's jar and looked embarrassed. "Sorry about her," the woman whispered. "She's a lot. HR has a file on her thicker than a phone book, but she brings in the social media engagement numbers." "Social media engagement?" I asked, keeping my tone casual. "Yeah, she's trying to get the board to approve turning the courtyard into a content creation space. Ring lights, cameras, the whole setup." She grabbed her coffee and sighed. "Anyway, enjoy the quiet while it lasts." The courtyard. My courtyard. The one Susan and I had designed together, with native Texas plants and quiet spaces for actual work breaks, ring lights and cameras. The rage that flared in my chest wasn't hot. It was ice-cold determination. I looked at Carol, who was wiping down the counter with shaking hands. "Don't worry about her, Mrs. Matthews," Carol whispered. "She's one of the few who knows who I really am. She treats everyone like garbage." "Garbage gets collected eventually, Carol," I said, taking my coffee. "It just takes the right truck." 2 days later, the sound of jackhammers woke up the entire campus at 7 a.m. I wasn't in my office yet. I was checking the irrigation system on the south lawn. The noise echoed off the glass buildings, and I felt the vibration through my boots. Construction requires permits. Construction requires my approval. I hadn't approved anything. I drove my golf cart around to the guest parking lot and found 3 white vans marked Quick Charge Solutions. A crew was tearing up pristine asphalt and trenching through landscaping to lay electrical conduit. Ashley was standing there in a hard hat that looked like it had never seen actual work, pointing at blueprints on an iPad. "Stop!" I yelled, waving my arms. "Shut it down!" The foreman looked up, saw a guy in work clothes, and hesitated. The jackhammers wound down. Ashley turned slowly and rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd fall out. "Oh my God, you again. Are you seriously stalking me? Don't you have bathrooms to clean?" "You cannot dig here," I said, ignoring the insult. "This is guest parking, and that retaining wall contains the main fiber trunk for the medical building next door. You hit that line, you shut down their clinical trials." "Relax, Grandpa. I'm installing dedicated EV charging stations. We need level 3 superchargers for the executive vehicles. I don't care about the medical nerds. I care about charging my Tesla in 15 minutes. Did you pull permits? I asked. Did you get property owner approval? I basically am the property owner, she scoffed. Next Gen pays 60% of the rent here. We own this place. Now get out of my way before I call security. I am security, I muttered, but she'd already turned back to the crew. Keep digging, she told the foreman. If maintenance bothers you again, just ignore him. I stepped back and took photos. Lots of photos. The trench, the severed landscape routes, the license plates on the contractor vans. Then I walked away. If she wanted to play property owner, fine. Time to show her what actual ownership looked like. That evening was the monthly tenant mixer in the lobby. Usually I skip these, too much cheap wine and business card swapping. But tonight I put on my good shirt and went downstairs. The lobby was loud. Next Gen had taken over the event naturally. They'd brought in a DJ playing music that made the windows rattle. Ashley was in the center of a circle holding a champagne glass like a scepter. So I told the old janitor, Ashley was shouting over the bass recounting the morning's events, that if he wants to stop progress, he can go work at a library. We're taking over the whole complex soon anyway. I'm going to turn that boring courtyard into a sick content studio with professional lighting. The group laughed, that corporate laugh that means nothing. But what about the lease? Someone asked. Doesn't the property owner have a say? Ashley scoffed. The owner is some shell company, Matthews Holdings or whatever, probably some old boomer living in Florida who doesn't care as long as the check's clear. I haven't even read our lease. Why would I? We're Next Gen. We do what we want. I haven't even read the lease. Those words hung in the air like a beautiful target. She didn't know about the easement clauses, the quiet enjoyment stipulations, or Section 22 regarding material alteration of premises. I smiled for the first time in days. A real smile. I turned to leave and Ashley caught sight of me across the room. Hey, she called out, loud enough for half the room to hear. Maintenance guy, thanks for the free drinks. She raised her glass in a mocking toast. I raised my water bottle back at her. Enjoy it while you can, Ashley. I went back to my office and called Linda Foster, my lawyer. Linda's a tough woman who specializes in commercial real estate and has zero patience for nonsense. Brian, she said when she picked up, what's the emergency? I need you to prep a notice of default, I said, but don't send it yet. Who's being stupid? Next Gen Digital, the social media princess thinks she owns my building. Ah, the influencer VP. I saw her TikTok about Austin's emerging entrepreneurial ecosystem. Made my teeth hurt. What did she do? Unauthorized construction, property damage, and she's claiming ownership rights to secure additional funding from Daddy's investors. Linda whistled. That's not just breach of contract, Brian. If she's misrepresenting property ownership for financial gain, that's fraud. Personal liability territory. I know, I need documentation first. Can you recommend an inspector? I'll send Dennis Walsh. He's retired city building inspector, meaner than a rattlesnake, and he loves burying entitled rich kids in paperwork. For the next week, Dennis and I became ghosts. We didn't confront Ashley, didn't make demands, we just watched and documented. When you start looking at a company run by people who think rules don't apply to them, you find violations everywhere. Violation 1, the unauthorized subletting. We found a crypto mining operation in a supply closet, paying Ashley rent in Bitcoin, direct breach of the exclusivity clause. The power consumption had spiked by 280%, costing me thousands in utility overages. Violation 2, fire code violations. They'd blocked the emergency exit with a foosball table and a pallet of energy drinks. Dennis actually cackled when he saw that. Violation 3, noise ordinance. The medical research firm next door filed formal complaints about Ashley's content creation sessions that involved music loud enough to rattle their equipment. Violation 4, electrical code. They daisy-chained so many power strips for ring lights and charging stations that Dennis said it was a fire waiting to happen. By the end of the week, we had documented 47 separate violations. The potential damages were adding up to $78,000 in repairs, fines, and lost rent from other tenants. The turning point came on Thursday. I was in the lobby replacing burnt-out bulbs when I overheard Ashley on a video call with investors. She was pacing and talking loud as always. Yeah, the board is asking about burn rate, but I told them we have the facility locked down. We basically own the lease on the parking structure. She paused, then laughed. Yeah, I may have stretched the truth a little, but they're in New York. They're not flying out here to count parking spaces. As long as the valuation holds until we go public, I'm cashing out anyway. I nearly dropped my screwdriver. She wasn't just violating my lease. She was defrauding her own investors by claiming assets she didn't own. This went way beyond property management into securities fraud territory. I called Linda immediately. Hypothetically, I said, if a tenant claims ownership of common areas to inflate their company valuation, and those areas are explicitly landlord-controlled in the lease, what kind of liability are we talking about? Brian, that pierces the corporate veil. Personal liability for fraud. Why? Please tell me she's that stupid. She just admitted it on a phone call in my lobby. Good Lord. Okay, I'm drafting the termination notice now. But you need her to do it again in front of witnesses we can use. I might have an idea about that. The universe has a sense of humor sometimes. Friday afternoon, I saw the schedule on the lobby monitor. Next Gen Digital. Investor walkthrough. 2 p.m. Perfect. Friday was brutally hot, the kind of Texas heat that makes asphalt soft. A convoy of black Suburbans pulled up to the entrance. This wasn't Ashley's usual crowd of startup bros. This was serious money. Pension funds, institutional investors, the kind of people who write checks with 8 zeros. Ashley was waiting in the lobby wearing a blazer over her athleisure. She was practically vibrating with nervous energy. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to the Next Gen campus. She spread her arms wide like she'd built the place herself. I was nearby, trimming hedges by the entrance. I wanted to hear every word. As you can see, Ashley gestured toward the main building, we have fully integrated the facility into our content ecosystem. We have expansion plans for the entire North Wing next quarter. She didn't have expansion plans. She didn't even have an option to renew. One of the investors, a stern man with silver hair, pointed to the parking lot, specifically to my reserved spot where the white Bentley sat, still parked diagonally. Very impressive, he said with a slight accent. But parking is premium in Austin. Do you have secured allocation? Oh, absolutely, Ashley laughed, clapping him on the back. See that Bentley? That's my executive spot. We control the entire front lot under priority easement. The property management basically reports to us. She saw me then, standing there with hedge clippers. I looked like exactly what she thought I was, maintenance staff. Actually, Ashley snapped her fingers at me. Brian, get these leaves off the walkway. We're trying to have a meeting here, and honestly, try to look more professional when we have guests. You're representing the property. The investors looked uncomfortable. It was an ugly moment, flexing power at the expense of the help. I looked at Ashley, then at the silver-haired investor. I'll take care of that right away, I said, my voice completely neutral. Good. Chop chop. Ashley turned her back to me, leading the group inside. Now, if you'll follow me to our content creation suite. They walked inside, the heavy glass doors clicking shut. I stood there for a moment in the blazing sun, feeling the weight of the clippers in my hand. Humiliation is fuel if you refine it properly. High-octane, clean-burning fuel. I took out my phone, but I didn't open notes this time. I scrolled to a contact I hadn't used since some drunk college kid abandoned a Honda in my loading dock. Kevin Anderson, Anderson Towing and Recovery. Kevin, it's Brian Matthews. Mr. Matthews, long time. What can I do for you? I have a vehicle in violation of posted signage. Repeated infractions, unauthorized use of reserved space. Make and model, Bentley Continental GT, white pearl. Kevin whistled. That's going to be one expensive recovery. The owner's not going to be happy. The owner is currently lying to investors about property she doesn't own, Kevin. Can you be here in 10 minutes? For you. I'm already starting the truck. Let me explain lease section 14, subsection D. When Susan and I drafted our standard commercial lease, we included what we called the attitude adjustment clause. Legally, it's a lien on personal property for breach of easement terms. Simply put, if you repeatedly violate parking assignments or damage common areas, I can hold your stuff as collateral. Ashley hadn't just parked in my spot. Those unauthorized electrical installations had caused $78,000 in damage to the grid and landscaping. The crypto mining had spiked utility usage by 280%. Technically, NextGen owed me exactly $78,000 in damages. The Bentley was worth $265,000. Perfect collateral. Kevin arrived in 8 minutes, driving a beast of a flatbed truck with chains that rattled like the ghosts of every car that had crossed the wrong person. "That the beauty?" he asked, leaning out the window. "That's it," I said, pointing with my clippers. "No keys?" "Drag it." Kevin grinned. Music to my ears. The process was violent and beautiful. Kevin hooked the winch to the Bentley's rear axle. Since the car was in park with the brake set, the rear wheels locked. The winch screamed as it dragged the car, tires screeching against my asphalt, up onto the flatbed. Inside the glass lobby, I saw heads turn. The investors were looking. Ashley was looking, but they couldn't hear the screaming tires through the soundproof glass. They just saw a massive tow truck hauling away their host's pride and joy. Ashley's face went white. She ran to the window, slapping the glass with both palms like a mime in a box of her own making. Kevin secured the chains. "Where to, boss?" "Deep storage lot, Kevin. The one with the German Shepherd." "You got it." As the truck drove off with Ashley's Bentley bouncing on the flatbed like a defeated animal, I went back to my office and made fresh coffee. Then I sat down and waited. 3 minutes later, my phone rang. The caller ID showed NextGen Digital. "Mr. Matthews?" It was Ashley's assistant, a nice young woman named Michelle. Her voice was shaking. "This is Michelle from NextGen. Ashley is..." She's screaming. She says her car was stolen. "I saw what happened, Michelle. Can you tell us who took it?" "Tell Ashley that her vehicle has been secured pursuant to Section 14D of her lease agreement regarding collateral for property damages," I said, leaning back in my chair. "It's parked in a secure facility pending payment of outstanding liens for unauthorized electrical work and landscape destruction." Silence. Then, You towed it?" "I repossessed it, Michelle. There's a difference. Repossession implies legal right, which I have." Oh my God. She's going to lose her mind. Tell her to check her email. My lawyer just sent the notice of default. The silence in my office was profound, but it wasn't empty. It was the silence of a chess player who just moved their queen into position and is waiting for their opponent to realize the game ended 3 moves ago. By Monday morning, my phone rang with a 212 area code. "New York. Mr. Matthews? This is Rebecca Stone, General Counsel for Phillips Holdings." "Good morning, Ms. Stone. We received some disturbing documentation regarding our portfolio company, NextGen Digital. We understand you're the property owner." "I am. We're seeing reports of lease violations, unpermitted construction, and a vehicle seizure. The vehicle was collateral for damages," I said smoothly. "Standard procedure. Mr. Matthews, we're flying a team down Wednesday for an emergency audit of NextGen's operations. We'd like you to participate. We need to understand the full scope of potential liability." Wednesday morning, the conference room on NextGen's floor was packed. 3 suits from Phillips Holdings sat on one side. Rebecca Stone was there looking like a shark in Armani. Ashley sat at the head of the table looking like she'd slept in a clothes dryer. I walked in last, wearing my best suit. The silence was absolute. Ashley looked up, confusion washing over her face. Then she saw how Rebecca Stone nodded to me with respect. "What is he doing here?" Ashley's voice cracked. "Mr. Matthews is here at our request," Rebecca said. "He's the property owner and currently our largest creditor." "I own the building, Ashley," I said, taking the seat across from her. "Everything you've been claiming to own." Ashley tried. She launched into slides about pivot strategies and scalable disruption. The board watched with dead eyes. "Ashley," Rebecca interrupted, "cut to the financials. We're showing $78,000 in facility violations and we have a lien notice." I slid a photo across the table. The Bentley in my spot next to the construction equipment. Unauthorized work that damaged city infrastructure. I have 47 violations documented by a certified inspector. "You're a liability," Rebecca told Ashley. "Effective immediately. You are suspended pending termination." Security escorted Ashley out carrying a cardboard box. At the curb, she looked lost. No phone, no car, no backup plan. Kevin's truck rumbled by, towing the pink Maserati from the fire lane. "That's the sales fleet," Ashley cried. "Not anymore," I said. The wire transfer came through that afternoon, $78,000 from Phillips Holdings. I transferred every penny to campus beautification. Time to plant more native Texas flowers. I walked back inside, past the lobby where they were removing next-gen signs. Carol at the coffee bar was beaming. "We got oat milk delivery," she said. "Latte on the house? Perfect. I'll be in my office." Sometimes justice doesn't knock. Sometimes you build the door and wait for it to find the right address. But when it arrives, it knows exactly where it belongs. Read your contracts, treat people with respect, and remember, that maintenance guy might own the building. Quiet authority beats loud ego every time.
How is that quote 1000? I need to no. Oh, Simpix, you saw it. I'm so sorry. I don't think I said that. We're gonna need a clip. We're gonna need proof in a clip for that. I didn't say that. Here's the habanero bean. Oh gosh, we have more creatures arriving. Hold on, let me turn on the camera. Oh, the camera's... It's too chaotic. It's too chaotic right now. I'm overwhelmed. Okay. Should I eat this for you? I'm surprised it's just the spicy bean. Oh gosh.
Chikorita 15 just raided and they brought everybody.
It's fine. It's fine. It's no big deal. You did? I personally heard you? What? There we go. Thank you. I'm not myself. Oh.
Did you see how many onions I cut up and have to cook? My eyes hurt.
I didn't. How many onions did you have to cook? Hi, Cass! Thank you for the raid. I'm sorry. This is very, very bad timing on my part. Simpix, you're wanted, you're loved. I miss you. I hope you return shortly. I appreciate you and I miss you so much. Hold on, I got bean in my teeth. Okay. That was horrible. That bean was really gross.
Corsic love.
Look, there's a cat. Look at the cat. Isn't that cute? Okay. I'm sure I missed chat. JP says I feel for you, Simpix, and hello. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't know. The dog is crying now. I can't. Thank you for booping, Mims. What was the quote 1000? Was it, so we have Simpix is gone, good, and then we have Simpix is gone, good. We got it twice. Okay.